Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for an extra special live Q&A. I mean, they're all special, but I feel like anytime we get to showcase one of our colleagues, it feels like an extra special one. Thanks for joining us. We're talking to Jessica Khadoo, who is the manager of Kobo Originals. Thanks for joining us, Jess.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
And do let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. That's always fun for us to see who we have around the world. We're coming in from Toronto as per usual. And if you have any questions throughout, you can drop them into the chat and we'll try our best to get to them. And yeah, let us know. We're really excited to talk about Kobo Originals. And yeah, it should be a great conversation. So let's start. Jessica, can you give us an overview of what is Kobo Originals?
Sure. So Kobo Originals is Rakuten Kobo's in-house digital publishing imprint, and our aim is to provide our readers with fresh, engaging, exclusive content that they can't find anywhere else, and really just to enhance their overall reading experience. So we acquire, produce, and market high-quality, accessible ebooks, and we typically work with indie and self-published authors, specializing in genre fiction, so mainly romance, feel good, mystery thrillers. And our teams publish works in, or my team published works in English language, but we also have global teams in France and Netherlands. And we often work on translations of our bestsellers across different territories. So a really cool and unique opportunity that we offer, especially for our indie and self-published authors who might not have had the opportunity to break into those different geos yet and are looking for a nice kind of like unique way to soft launch into those different countries.
Nice. So you're like the publisher within the retailer, essentially.
Yes, yeah. So it's kind of interesting to explain that. I think sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their heads around it, but yeah, that's exactly what we are. We're kind of this fun little group that takes care of all of the just produced content that we're really hoping resonates with our audience.
Can confirm the fun group part.
Definitely a fun group. And I love that Kobo Originals gives us another opportunity to work with indie authors on top of Kobo Writing Life. So it's really awesome to work with your team.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, and can you tell us a little bit about what inspired Kobo Originals and why we've created it?
So pretty much kind of like I was saying, the opportunity to provide readers with fresh content that engages them and, they can't find it anywhere else, which is huge for us, meaning like we're hoping to pair and partner with authors that readers are obsessed with. And then when they work with us, they ultimately want to come over to Kobo. And that's been a big drive for us as well. And that's why we're trying to really look into producing content that we know our readers love. And we want to draw new readers to our platform as well. So not only just keep our existing readers, but bring new people over to Kobo, let them know who we're about, let them, experience our platform in a different way, especially for some of our readers in America who have some other platforms that they're more familiar with. And I think Kobo's goal was to create an in-house publishing team that would be able to engage those readers as well and bring them over. And gives us the opportunity to use our own original content in a lot of unique ways, especially like a lot of Kobo run campaigns and special projects, like new device releases, having our covers show up on ads is amazing for us and amazing exposure for our authors that they might not get anywhere else. And also the prospect of working with our Kobo Writing Life authors. Kobo Writing Life, of course, as you guys know, is huge for putting out amazing titles by emerging writers and self-published writers. And they're already living within our platform and finding success. So we definitely want to go in and connect with those authors and see if there's ways that we can work with them to just elevate them even more.
And you work in different sort of formats as well. So it's not just like ebooks per se. You kind of do some audio and there's like the translation piece too. which maybe people don't realize of like the kind of multi-platform opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with translations, that's something that we're really spearheading right now and really focusing on, because there's a lot of great content out there, not just in English language, not just in Dutch, not just in French. So we want to really target just good stories and written by great diverse authors, emerging authors, and really give them a opportunity to have their stories break into different markets. So yeah, for sure. And we've done audiobooks in the past. It's something that we've kind of shifted our focus and mainly kind of transferred to translations and ebooks, but we're also creating some really unique ebook content that I'm going to talk about maybe a little bit later when it comes to like our new color devices and our Kobo stylus. So yeah, we're definitely working and exploring within the ebook world as well.
So let's roll it back a little bit, because you guys do so much. And with the authors that we work with, so often discoverability is like such a challenge when it's digital content and there's so many books in the world. So how do you go about selecting authors or stories that become part of Kobo Originals?
So it's a big process. We're kind of looking all over the place for sure. So like I said, we are looking internally, of course, and we're looking at authors who are having success on our platform, especially within Kobo Writing Life, and working with them to develop series or even standalones that can just elevate their voices even more. Being an internal publisher at Kobo means that we have a lot of different a lot to leverage and a lot of different resources that we can look into. So there's opportunities for homepage space, and there's lots of opportunities for email spotlights. So we are looking for authors who have some kind of upward sort of mobility going or trajectory going, but we're also looking for authors who just can write really unique and diverse stories. So diversity and inclusion and own voice authors are who we are looking to reach out to, because they have a lot of really unique stories to tell. And for me personally, visibility is a high priority for me. And I want to make sure that we're elevating voices of these authors because they've got amazing and unique stories to tell. And as a publisher, we have a responsibility, and I have a responsibility to give them the space and to give them the elevated, audience, I guess.
No, I love that. I think it's so important. And like with independent publishing, kind of removing the gatekeeping aspect where these stories are out in the world, I love that you're coming from the attitude of like, as a publisher, to continue that elevation and like even perhaps like looking at like how these books are doing and spotlighting things in that way. It's really, really great to hear that as like such a focus. In general, could you share some popular standout titles for you from Kobo Originals?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've got like a ton. So I think our number one best-selling title is a holiday romance, of course, by Chloe Leese, The Mistletoe Motive. It came out a couple of years ago. It has a beautiful cover by Lenny Kaufman, who is a very popular contemporary romance cover artist. And Chloe is an own voices author, and the story highlights the romance between a female main character who's on the autistic spectrum, and then also a male main character who's got type 1 diabetes. So lots of representation here. And it's just a fun little novella, sweet, steamy, and has been a staple for us for the past couple of years. So definitely check it out if you're looking into holiday reads this coming holiday season. We also have The Unmatchmakers by Jackie Lau, who is a Canadian, Toronto-based author, Asian Canadian author, and she takes the trope of the meddling mothers and flips it on its head, where in this case, the mothers aren't trying to put their children together, they're trying to separate them and bring them apart. So it's a really fun taste of Canadiana cottage summer read that is perfect for right now. And that's available in ebook and audiobook. Last year, we came out with our first paranormal romance series, The Moonstone Pack by Margot Bond Collins. And when I'm telling you this story blew up, it blew up. People love wolf shifters, of course. So this series is was a 3-book, but we're actually adding a 4th book coming out this September to finish off this series and wrap it up. And it's been one of our most popular series to date. Then we also have, and last one I'm going to plug, I promise, but Beautiful Murders, which is a detective fiction series. It was actually a success story as a Dutch original at first, and then we translated it into English a couple years ago, and it's been our best-selling series in Kobo Plus to date. So yeah, definitely check that one out. That one is based in the Netherlands and follows a female detective as she is in sort of these coastal island towns, and she has possibly a serial killer chasing her, and on top of her daily job. So definitely check those out. That one's in ebook only for us as well.
So
Nice
many
plug.
great choices
Yeah.
to go through. I
There's
love
so
that.
many. Yeah.
Yeah. And people might be wondering around, like we talk about Dutch a little bit, and it's because it's such a good market for Kobo, especially with the Kobo Plus piece, and like the opportunity with original content there is like really, really strong. So it's so cool to see like how the translations evolve back and forth. But I wanted to ask you just a little side question, or I guess maybe it's a main question because I'm asking it. But you mentioned the covers. I always love the covers, like Margot's ones in particular were like nice and steamy. I love the mistletoe motive one was super cute.
Yeah.
How do you go about kind of like choosing who to work with? Do you collaborate with the authors on the covers, or is that something that ye as the team sort of use your expertise to help with the design?
Oh, I love this question. It's actually probably one of my favorite parts about my job is working on covers, and I kind of can't believe that it's part of my job, but it's great question. So what we normally do is we'll normally handle the cover design direction in-house. We then will reach out to cover artists. So whether they be like a cover agency or a particular freelance artist that we've been sourcing and looking for. So it goes through a bit of a process where we know what genre the book is, we know what subgenre it falls in. So we'll do a little bit of an analysis on what's popular right now in that genre. What are readers really attracted to? And especially in the digital publishing world, the cover means so much compared to what people normally say is you can't judge a book by its cover. But for us, you can't pick the book up off of a shelf and leaf through it. You can download a preview, but it doesn't offer the same sort of experience, right? So we need to really pay attention to our covers and really make sure that we have a solid direction on where we want to go for it by knowing who our target audience is, knowing what they want and what they want to see on the cover, and then finding artists to complete that. And then we'll go through the sort of cover design phase, get concepts. And then when we have a cover that we're happy with internally, that's when we'll share it with the author, who more times than not really loves it anyway, which is great. And then we'll make some minor changes if there's certain things that need to be updated. But for the most part, we're really looking to work with artists that shine in those particular genres.
We've talked a little bit about how to support authors that are doing well, that have kind of stuck out to you because they're already doing great on Kobo. How does Kobo Originals support emerging writers?
Great question. So we're always looking at, even though we're looking at authors who are performing well on Kobo, we're always connecting with Kobo Writing Life team, as you guys know, for any authors that you kind of see sort of trending upwards. So not necessarily having like tons of sales on Kobo and is like completely known in the indie community or the self-published community, but authors who you're seeing a lot of sort of buzz about, or there's a story that's got a really great concept that is something that, like I said, is diverse or has own voices, something that really offers a unique experience. Like I was saying, Jackie Lau, she took a trope and really turned it on its head, and something like that is very unique, where she was able to pull in a lot of cultural backgrounds and cultural sort of history that she had within her personal life and put that into the story, which just adds more to it. And for us on this side, my goal this year was to expand different ways that we were reaching authors and connecting with authors. So this year, I'm running our first ever writing contest in Canada. So it's started already. It's actually running until August 15th when the submissions close, and it is a holiday rom-com novella. So this is me shamelessly plugging this right now. And it's an opportunity for any emerging writer, completely new writer, or seasoned writer to submit a story, and the winner will have the opportunity to have their book published as a Kobo original this holiday season. And then they can also win a Kobo ebook and slipcover, which is awesome. And it can be any winter holiday. So we're open to reading pretty much anything. Steam level can be anything. The word limit is between 15 and 20,000 words, and the winner will be announced on September 1st. So I think just under a month left for that. Lots of time. If anybody's listening to this and wants to enter, there's still lots to do. And I believe we'll post the link in the chat toward the end of the call.
Oh, it's already in there.
It's already there.
They can apply if they're interested.
Perfect. And also what we've been doing too has been pairing with Kobo Writing Life and putting a little call out in the newsletter every, I think, couple of months that we throw one in there. And normally we're asking authors like, hey, do you have a sports romance that you've been working on and that you want us to read and consider publishing as a Kobo original? We'd love to hear from you. So definitely keep a lookout for those call outs in the newsletter. And we're always looking for new authors. So submit.
It's such an exciting competition. We don't often run them, so I'm really excited to see what happens. And I know it's going to be a lot of work on your side, and I get kind of just to sit back and see. But I really encourage people to write those. The holiday romance stories are just like I don't know. I mean, I guess they don't have to feel warm and fuzzy. I guess sometimes I feel like that's the direction they go to. But I'm really excited to see what applications.
Yeah, and we've had some really great engagement so far, which has been awesome. And we've got, some social stuff going out between our Kobo social and the KWL social. So lots of hopefully driving lots of attention to it. But I'm really excited. Yeah, our holiday reads are always a staple, I think, for any sort of romance. So I'm really excited to see what we get coming in, and always looking for new ways to connect with different authors. And yeah, this year it's only in Canada, but hoping if we can run one next year that we can expand it to our US and UK writers as well, and Australia and New Zealand as well too. So fingers crossed we can do that. But yeah, lots of big ideas hopefully coming down the pipeline for writing.
Oh, contests. I didn't know that. I feel like that's a real scoop, an exclusive for the people tuning in.
Yeah, a little teaser. Let's hopefully that can happen next year. But yeah, our French team and our Dutch team have had writing contests in the past, and it's worked out really well for them. So that's what really motivated me to try and host one this year for sure.
Nice. So we've talked a little bit about the holiday romances being something that we enjoy, or that you enjoy working on for sure. Could you talk a little bit about what genres you find are most popular with Kobo Originals readers? Because it's not just romance. You had talked about the Tika Morgan a little bit, but in terms of genre, what are you guys seeing?
For us, what we're seeing, like I said, romance, but the feel good, so not necessarily romance. It might have a little taste or hint of romance, and then mystery thriller for sure. And pretty much like the big subgenres within those genres, like mystery thriller, we're seeing a lot of traction for psychological, a lot of things that are like, turning into movies or turning into TV series. We're seeing a lot of indie authors have their titles being pulled to be turned into different types of media, which is awesome and crazy to see. So yeah, psychological, cozy mysteries people love, and those do really well in a series. Police procedural, woman sleuth, detective fiction, that's really trending upwards for us and stuff that we're looking into. For romance, like I said, paranormal, fantasy, as we know. And right now, sports romance is blowing up. Maybe we have to, yeah, Laura, I know. And maybe we need to thank Taylor and Travis for that. But it's something that we're looking heavily into. There's billionaire romance, small town romance. There's a lot of those quintessential, I would like to say commercial genre fiction that audiences know what they want to read, and they've found their tropes, they've found their subgenres, and that's where they want to dedicate their time. There's a lot of things vying for your time right now. So finding and honing in on these popular subgenres is what's important to us, because we know, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about Kobo Plus. We know that our Kobo Plus readers and subscribers are very, very interested and motivated to read everything and anything that falls under those umbrellas.
Yeah, let's talk about Kobo Plus a little bit, because I know that Kobo Plus is something Tara and I are always talking about with authors and recommending it to authors for a way to revitalize their backlist and find really like a global readership they wouldn't have otherwise. How does Kobo Plus factor into the success of a Kobo original?
In short, really big. Like, they're really big. Kobo Plus readers are a huge factor for us, and really, really take our books to the next level in terms of success and visibility and engagement. As we all know, like, Kobo Plus readers are avid, they're insatiable, and they're extremely loyal. So they're reading a lot, and they're reading all of the time. And that motivates us to produce titles that we know our subscribers are going to really rush to add to their libraries. And this includes, like I said, popular series that we've produced in the past, like the Moonstone series was the first book was the most added title in Kobo Plus last year in Canada, which was amazing for us to hit as a Kobo original. And then the Tika Morgan's Beautiful Murder series is our most successful series in Kobo Plus. People love the idea of big series that they can just add all 4 of them to their library and binge through like they do a show. And then we've got Jade Church's fantasy romance. It's a sapphic fantasy romance, which, again, like I said, we're taking these subgenres and really looking for unique stories within them. And it's crushing the last few months, as the second book was just released in June. So it's become, I think, probably going to be one of our most popular books this year. And it's clear that if we target these particular subgenres and target authors who can write these genres, readers are going to love them. And Kobo Plus has given us the opportunity to really take our successful books to another level. And like I said, series, huge for us, and being able to produce series for Kobo Plus subscribers has been very fruitful for us.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the series piece. Is that something that's really important when you're kind of working with an author about like acquiring like the story and idea? Is it like because you do produce standalones from time to time, but the focus tends to be, and I think it's perhaps to do with the subgenres lean heavily towards series.
For sure.
But is that something you consider when you are starting to work with an author?
Yes and no. So it depends. If we've got an author who's come to us and they've got the standalone, we will chat with them about, okay, have you thought about making this a series, or could this be a series of standalones that are related based on theme? Normally, the reason why we're leaning have more towards a series is mainly for our Kobo Plus subscribers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it only needs to be a series. And like you said, Tara, a lot of the subgenres that we're publishing in right now lean heavily towards having multiple characters and multiple stories within a particular universe. So for us, it's not necessary for it to be a series like we have a standalone coming out in September, which we'll chat about. And that one I'm really excited for. And I think that's going to do really well, but more so maybe on a la carte side versus a Kobo Plus side. So there's different strategies for both, but it's really all about the story and what works for it.
I like that you mentioned the universe there, because that's something that's so popular with readers, is like books that are in the shared universe. And that's really fun that you kind of can tap into that little unique part of this market as well.
Yeah, and that's something that we've chatted about with authors too, where they have a series that is available widely on multiple platforms, and maybe chatting with them of like, okay, cool, can we maybe do a spin-off series that's exclusive to Kobo that maybe links to your wider series, or vice versa, where it's like, let's start the series exclusively and then maybe give you the opportunity to produce a side spin-off series that goes wide that can link back to the Kobo original series. So there's lots of opportunities and lots of different conversations that we're having with authors, and like to play around in this circle and really see what, as a publisher, we have the ability to do that and we have the control to do that, which is awesome for us. And I think a lot of indie and self-published authors really love that as well.
And you talked a little bit about like the Kobo Plus piece is available in multiple places. And I know that you guys work on translations. I was just curious about, like, when you're acquiring a book, is location of readership like a factor? Or do you find that a lot of these books really will transfer to, like, the French audience will also enjoy this story? I know, I mean, I feel like I always say, like, at Kobo, we take a globally local view of book selling, where we do try and appreciate the little subtle nuances. But I'm kind of curious about how that ties into the originals process.
Great question. Yeah. So when we're acquiring books, we really want to try and acquire the French and the Dutch rights and the English rights, so that we have the ability to produce it and translate it across the different geos that we're in right now. And there are definitely some titles that lean more towards, okay, this would work in France and this would work in the Netherlands. Netherlands really likes a lot of feel-good stories, and France likes a lot of mystery thriller stuff. So there are definitely particular titles that we do think would work a lot better in a certain geo versus another. There's some that are more, maybe lean more towards being set in a particular place, or culturally a lot of differences that might not translate as well. But we also look into sort of where we're seeing our sales come from too. Are we seeing people that, if this book, like Jackie Lau's book, is based in Canada, are only Canadians reading it, or, you know, or any other English language people reading it? And if so, then chances are it's more about the story than about the setting and the location, right? And then we'll consider, okay, then this is probably a good book to translate, and let's see how it operates in other places. So we look at them sort of on a case by case situation, and really try and see, okay, these are the themes, these are what's discussed in the book. Is that something that our Dutch audience or a French audience can relate to or would be interested in reading?
That's so interesting, because it is really an, in essence, at essence, okay, I'll start again. It really is the story that is the most important piece. And I always think about this with like Sally Rooney, for example. Like to me,
Right.
her books are like so Irish centric, and I'm like, I don't know if people are gonna like get it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't
No.
understand as a reader every single reference to anything.
Yeah.
And that's just
And
like one example, but it is really like it's
it's so
the
true.
story.
So we just translated another Dutch series. It's Iris Visser's series, and we called it With Love. And it's like with love from Ibiza, with love from London and New York. And she just came out with Hollywood. And they are Dutch characters in these various different places. And we translated it into English and we translated it into French. And both geos or both territories loved them. Like this series has been able to translate across different languages, even though the characters are pretty inherently Dutch, and there are a lot of Dutch isms, I guess I could say, in that story. But we're finding that readers love that about the story, as opposed to are like not turned off by that. So I think there are definitely there's definitely a lot of willingness in the reading community to read outside of their geos, and also to experience, like, spend time with translations and really acknowledge like the differences in translations and love the differences in translations, and you know, the way the different writing styles are, and sort of all those translation nuances.
Can you talk a little bit about the covers for when you do translations? Like, what is that process like to kind of think
Mm.
about the audience for the book in English versus in Dutch, for example?
Great question, actually, because that's something we spend a lot of time talking about as a team when we're talking about translations, is whether or not our covers are going to work across, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, right? We have a firm sort of understanding of what each geo likes, and like here in English language, if we're thinking about romance, lots of illustrated covers are around right now, and that's kind of the thing, versus maybe a more vector based cover, right? Or maybe something that's more text based. So we'll take a look at it and think, okay, if we can recover this, are we going to attract more of our target audience by doing that? And then the same thing across the board when it comes to like mystery thriller. There are certain types of genre specific things that audiences are looking for that we know works really well in English language. And you know, for mystery thriller, a lot of it is text based with dark backgrounds, and you know, maybe even like ominous landscapes and stuff like that, whereas there might be different in other geos. So we take a look at them, and we also kind of look at cost too, right, and see if that's something that's doable for us. But a lot of the time we will just take the cover because they're good and they work across geos. But yeah, we definitely look into that, and we'll do a little bit of market research and see if it's like, okay, if a cover like this would really perform well for us. Going back to that fact of somebody can't pick the book up off the shelf, so the cover really needs to shine.
How heated did these discussions get? Do you ever you're just
We're
like, "No, I
fighting.
love
Yeah.
that cover."
Yeah, no, I don't think we get too heated. I don't remember any heated moments of it, but there are moments of it. Sometimes it feels awkward to be like, no, I think we're gonna have to recover this. And it's not a personal thing.
Have you ever recovered, like, after, like, a year or so? Or is it generally, like, the cover you launch with is what you stay with?
We have done that for Kobo editions sometimes on our end. In English language, I don't believe we've done a recover of our originals. I do know that for Tika Morgan's series, when we translated it into English, we recovered it, and then that cover was used then for the French and then recovered in the Netherlands. So there was moments of that where I think we just found a cover artist who really got kind of the vision of what we wanted for the cover, and then the rest of the team sort of agreed, and then we just recovered it there.
can you give us a preview to some upcoming releases or projects within Kobo Originals that you're excited about?
Can I? Yeah, no, I've been dying for you to ask me. No. So this one isn't upcoming. This one actually just released, but we just came out with our digital journal series, which were 3 journals that we created. Digital journals inspired by our color devices and the Kobo stylus, and they're perfect for those bullet journalers at heart. So we've got a travel journal where you can track your adventures. We got a reading journal where you can track your reads throughout the year for those avid readers. And love the reading journal, especially for this crowd, because we included a Kobo bingo card, but then we also included some blank bingo cards that you can go in and fill out for yourself too. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. And then we have a wellness and routine journal, and that's just to help you track your life, really. And then we have a contemporary fiction / romance standalone coming out in September. It's Somewhere Along the Way by Anna Gomez. And it's a really, really sweet, heartfelt story about a woman who goes across the country on a cross-country journey, to find her estranged mother. And then along the way, she meets the stranger who becomes her unexpected travel buddy. And they travel across the country, both on their own paths, but it doesn't matter. Love gets in the way, of course. So check that one out. That's coming out September 24th. And then I teased a little earlier, we have the 4th book in the Moonstone Pact, I can't call it a trilogy anymore, series. And that's wrapping up this series. The title is Nick, and it's by Margot Bond Collins. Like I said, I think it was a Wolf Shifter. So check that one out, add it to your libraries, add the whole series to your libraries. And lastly, another shameless plug again for this writing contest. That one's going to be released on November 1st. So keep an eye out for that one.
I really love everything that you guys have coming up, especially the journals are so fun. And if people that are watching are not familiar, we launched some pretty amazing devices this year. Kobo put out 2 color e-reading devices, which is the very first time that we've ever done anything in color. And what makes them extra special is that with the Kobo Libra, it has stylus compatibility, so you can mark up in color. I love that I can choose the color of my highlights.
Yeah.
You can mark up your devices, take notes, kind of just play around. So I love that you guys were able to be so creative and have the opportunity for like journals that can be integrated with that. I know the Kobo Writing Life team are a very heavily note-taking team. We like the bullet journals. And
yeah,
I know on our YouTube channel, you can see we had a chat with Sarah Cannon about her different planners and stuff. So I'm excited to talk to her about like what this could look like as well.
Oh yeah. And it was a cool project to work on. I had never worked on anything like this before. I've never worked on a fixed layout ebook before. And just from the start to finish, it was just really interesting to think about designing a digital journal. What does that mean? How does that look? How would it adapt to different device sizes? Is there enough space for people to write in? What are like our color contrasts looking like? How do you QA them? There is so much to learn about them, and this is just the start. So if we see a lot of people using them and good traction on them, there's definitely opportunity for more, or even just, the reading journal 2.0 or anything like that. So it's a really cool and unique opportunity that we're able to have devices that can handle this now, and like a really interesting digital publishing space to explore.
Yeah, I love that you guys jumped on it too, because it's like a cover times 100, like that you're having to work on,
pretty much. Yeah, it's like design files for each page, which was interesting to do because when you're actually thinking about how to lay out a journal. It's really just like the same page repeated 20 times or something like that. But it's even just in your mind to conceptually think about it. I think for a lot of people, it's also hard for them to like wrap their heads around an idea of a digital journal. But it makes so much sense to have it on your Kobo, especially when it comes through like the reading and the travel and like just a daily planner. You have your Kobo with you because you're reading all over the place anyway. So why not have all of that stuff in your Kobo? That's been like my selling point here. But it just ends up being sort of a no-brainer of like, this is the next step for these devices, and why not create some really interesting and fun content to go along with it.
I think maybe I'm like brainstorming ahead. I wonder if you could have like activity books for some of the Kobo Original series, like to tie in. Goes to my question I want to ask you where it's going to evolve, but you can take that idea for free.
Okay. Oh, thanks. I'll give you credit. I promise. Like in the copyright page. Concept by Tara. But yeah, I just see there could be a lot of opportunity with this type of content. We just kind of went with 3 basic things that we know people love to journal about: reading, their lives, and traveling. But there's so much more out there. There's even the idea of like any sort of drawing journals or anything like that people doodle, sketch journals, anything that kind of help creativity that way. Or even we were thinking about, and this could be something to chat about off camera, but like an author resource, like how to help you craft your novel, some prompts, some different things like that to really attract like not only readers but writers, because we're very interested in them as well. So I think there's lots of opportunity there to do a lot with this stuff.
I love that. And I know that the color devices, the covers look so good. So that must be extra satisfying having had a part in creating these covers to
Oh my
see them.
gosh. Yeah, no, it's been cool. And now I have to go out. I have a vacation coming up soon where it'll be beachside. So I am hoping to take a bunch of pictures of our covers now on this color device, because it was something I think that everyone, I can say probably publishers, authors, readers were craving. That's one of the best parts about buying a new book, is seeing the cover and appreciating it. And when you get to see it color on your device, that's even better. Even when you just have it lying there sleeping, it just looks so much more inviting.
100%. It definitely makes me want to pick up the books more often. So where do you see, or how do you see Kobo Originals evolving in the next few years? Or is you're going to kind of like keep doing what you know and kind of continue that way? Or how do you see the evolution?
So we've been around, I would say, what are we in 2024? So what's that? 4 or 5 years now, maybe 6. I don't know. I can't do math. It's been a great beginning to this imprint. We've had a lot of authors reach out to us who are interested in what we're doing, who are passionate about writing and writing for Kobo. And that shows us that we're doing something right? Like there's something that we're offering that authors are wanting, and that makes our jobs easier for sure when authors are so passionate about us and our platform and bringing their books to Kobo. But in the next few years, I would say, yeah, our goal is to kind of continue on the trajectory that we're doing right now, which is working with emerging authors. Like I said, I'm expanding the different ways that I'm reaching out and connecting with authors, and elevating their voices sort of to a wider audience. But translations is something that we're really focusing on. So not only translating title like Kobo Originals within Kobo Originals, but looking at other geos like Italy and Spain, and looking into those territories and seeing, are there emerging writers coming from those areas that we can reach out to and say, hey, are you interested in exploring the English market? That's something we can help you with. And that's something that I'm really going to be looking into in the next little while as well.
Love it. I think we're so lucky to be able to work on such a global
For
platform
sure.
and have those insights. And then also people on the ground in some of those regions that can even give you like the localized knowledge. I think we're really like so lucky.
Exactly. And that's kind of the benefit of being a publisher within a retailer. We have people based in those different countries that, you know, have the inside scoop and can see what's going on and can are connected with those audiences and know what those audiences want. And oftentimes, I mean, like we've seen it with series. A lot of series that are coming out right now are series adapted from a Spanish book or an Italian book or a French book. And I think there's a lot going on there, and that's so much easier to connect with those authors now than it has been in the past. It just seems like, why not?
There's so many parts to Kobo Originals that a lot of listeners may not realize. What have you found to be the most rewarding part of working as part of this team?
I'm so excited that you asked me this question, honestly. It's really bringing an author's baby to life, right? Like it's handling it from the first author meeting and talking about the concept and seeing the passion and the emotion of that these authors pour into their writing, and then being responsible from taking that concept and from the first draft going all the way through to production and then all the way to post release and onward. So it's just being able to take somebody's work and really bring it to life and just love making that happen for them. It's really a dream job to be able to do that for authors. And our authors, I've been so lucky. Our authors have been an absolute dream to work with. They make my life super easy. They're coming with a lot of creative energy, a lot of ideas. And I'm always shocked and amazed at whenever I talk to an author, how quick they are to be like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I'm just going to like pump out 20K in the next 2 days and we'll be fine. I'll make that deadline. I'm like shocked by it all the time. And it just makes it such a pleasure to work with them and work with these creative minds who love books as much as I do and as much as we all do. Like I'm sure you guys probably have similar things to say about your jobs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, working directly with authors is always the most satisfying piece, I find.
Yeah. And I mean, also internally, like it gives me the opportunity to work internally with a lot of different people. So we're working with our digital marketing team and we're working with PR and content sales. So there's a lot of opportunity to get everybody on board with an idea or a story that you love and you feel really passionate about. And it's also really addicting to be able to talk books with these teams and get them to be like, motivated to push these titles as well on their end.
Nice. We have a question here from Richard. I'll pop up. It was about the translations. Has Kobo Originals translated works from all languages? I know we've done some kind of Spanish, Italian. I think maybe this question is to kind of like the non-Roman alphabet. If you've done sort of any other translations.
We haven't on our team, mainly because we don't have anybody who has like a base knowledge in those languages. And that's something that is important to us too, is if we're publishing something in a language that we have people on our teams who can read the original text and make sure that the translation has been handled correctly. So we haven't done that yet. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's not something coming down the pipeline, but that is definitely a main concern for us, is that we have some people on the team or people within Kobo who have the ability to read those original texts and can verify our translations.
Having worked with authors and translators for anything, would you have any advice for an author that's looking to translate their works, or like how to even find which languages? Like just from your experience, is there anything
I
that
was
might
going to
be
say,
helpful?
talk to me. No. I would say that it can be difficult. It can also be quite costly. So that's something else to think about. So you really need to weigh out sort of your story, and you know, be honest with yourself. Your story, do a little bit of research into the you know, language that you want to translate into. Do you believe that the story will do well there? Because if you're going to invest a lot in a translation, which you will, you want to make sure that you're going to get, you know, your returns back, right? So I would say make sure you do some research into that local market and that language, and see what's really working for them there, what's working for authors there. Might even be even considering, like we talked about, recovering your book and making a cover that really focuses on that particular market. And I would say shoot some messages out on LinkedIn, and see that. I've actually just recently done that myself. If you're a translator or an editor who's looking for any sort of freelance stuff, reach out to me. But just throw something out on LinkedIn. That's a great resource to try and find people. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for these freelance roles and looking to like bolster their portfolios. So I would suggest that. There are Editors Canada, I think, also has an area or a search function that you can filter for translators as well. And a lot of the times it is a Google research kind of thing, where you kind of throw it in, throw in some keywords and see who pops up. But I would say LinkedIn is a really good resource.
I think both Laura and I shared your post. So
yes,
expanding your reach.
Expanding the network.
I need that.
And to add to that, I think also, like, in terms of doing research, also see if you can find like reviews about people who have worked with them before to make sure you're working with someone legitimate.
Yeah, and definitely if you can even ask them for like their portfolio and see like, okay, what have you worked on? And then you can go and look at the reviews of those translations and see, okay, how do people like that? Were there any gaps? Were there things that were lost in translation? So yeah, definitely do some research, because it is something that does cost a lot of money. So you definitely want to make sure that you've got everything sort of looked into before you commit.
Great. And we have a question here. So what does an emerging author have to do to get to work with Kobo Originals? So if an author is interested in learning more or pitching you an idea, how can they go about that?
Yeah, you can reach out to us on our email. We have kobo-originals@rakuten.com. I can post that in the chat too, I think, or send it to Laura and Tara to do as well. But we are, if I post this in the chat here, can I do this? No, it's not working. We are looking for any submissions that are kind of within the romance, feel-good, mystery, thriller genre. So if you have anything that you want us to take a look at, or you want to submit to us, like if you have a synopsis, or even better, if you have a manuscript that you've been working on, it doesn't need to be edited. It can be a first draft, just something that we can get a sense and a taste for the story, but also your writing style and the character, you know, all the good stuff. And reach out to us there, and then we can chat.
Do you take any books that have been previously published, or are you kind of looking for something that hasn't gone out before?
Ooh, great question. So we're really looking into anything. Like, for example, Jade Church or Kingdom Stars series. The first book was published not on Kobo, and then we got the rights for them, so it's exclusive on Kobo now. And then we produced the second book. So there's all sorts of conversations that we can have, and all different types of opportunities. So if there is a book that has been previously published, and sometimes for Jade, we asked her to write a bonus chapter. So something that was exclusively only found on Kobo for her first book. And then the second book is just exclusive on Kobo. So yeah, there's opportunities to chat about a series maybe you've started that you're looking to finish, but you want to finish it as a Kobo original, and we can chat about rights.
Well, I think this live has provided a connection here, so I'm sure you'll be hearing about this book. I love that. It's been so wonderful to have you on. I'm curious, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot with this one. Who's your dream big author that you would love to work with? I know it's a terrible question. I'm sorry.
Like big for, I mean, like
Whatever, however you would like to interpret. What's someone you'd love to work with?
Love Emily Henry. I mean, it would be a dream to, or like Colleen Hoover, of course, but like, I just think their writing is so fantastic and something that I think there's a reason why they have such a big readership, and it's because they have a great command of storytelling, they have great command of language, they have a way to make you really invest into their characters very quickly. So I would say for them, but I don't know, I feel like we've worked with a lot of great authors already. Like we worked with Talia Hibbert, we worked with Chloe Leese, we worked with Nana Malone. Like they were dream authors as well to work with. So I would say if I had like an ultimate goal, maybe it would be one of those lovely ladies.
Okay, thanks for playing.
I don't know. It's like, was that a good answer or a bad answer?
No pressure, Jess. No, that was a good answer for sure. One of the things that I also wanted to mention was the Kobo Writing Life podcast, because we've had so many great Kobo original authors on there and talked to them as well about their books and the whole process of working with the originals team. So I definitely recommend checking the podcast out for anyone listening who hasn't tuned in before. And I'll share a link to that in the comments as well.
I thought of one more author. Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like hands down, I think my favorite author. So yeah, I would say she'd be very interesting. Also because I loved the 4-book series of like women in time in history, like that with her Evelyn Hugo and, you know, Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto. Like I just think she's doing something different and I am into it.
So Laura, who is your author that you want them to work with? So then you as the co-host of the Kobo Writing Life podcast
that question.
Get to interview.
Be asking that question.
No pressure. Diana Gabaldon is a good one from like the Outlander series. That would be like that's one
great
of my
for
top
Kobo
authors.
She's right.
That's one of my favorite authors for sure. But yeah, I agree with Emily Henry. Emily Henry is the big one.
Tara, what about you?
Yeah, now we're going to put you on the spot.
I mean, I think you've already named out so many great ones. I think like all of them would be wonderful. Like
your girl Sally.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. I did meet her once in Toronto at a book launch. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So a little degrees of separation just got closer. So that's nice.
Ireland is so small, right? There is always less than 6 degrees.
I was going to say, don't you know everybody there, right?
Yeah, we do. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to mention that we didn't bring up, or anything that we forgot to talk about?
I think we covered a lot of things. Like I said, if you're interested in writing a contemporary holiday rom-com, definitely check out the contest that we have running right now. Like I said, it is closing on August 15th, so a little under a month to go, but enough time, I'm sure, for a lot of writers to squeeze out 15 to 20,000 words, no problem. So yeah, check into that. Unfortunately, that is only open to Canadian writers right now, but
we got the scoop.
You got the scoop, yes. Keep an eye out. Maybe next year we can expand that for sure. But yes, definitely check out. And Tara shared our link to our landing page where you can check out our full catalog, and we're always adding new titles every month.
And for any of the authors interested, I know we kind of hear a lot of feedback about how like the Kobo Writing Life team is so good to work with. And I can only extend that the Kobo Originals team is such a delight to ever work with. So if you're interested, you should reach out for sure.
Yeah. So looking forward to hearing from anybody and everybody.
Laura, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you guys covered it. So yeah, definitely reach out to Jess if you have a story worth sharing.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, I love it. And thanks for all the comments and letting us know. We have people from all over. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. And thanks so much, Jessica, for giving up your lunch break to come and chat work with us.
Of course. I love it so much, so it's not really work. But thanks so much, and reach out to me anytime you want me back.
Oh,
We
definitely
will.
We will.
Yeah, we will now.
Oh, well, thanks so much. We'll see you guys all soon.
Bye.
Bye.